Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is VitruvianPhysique, and today we have a bit of a problem. Let me illustrate a few examples of what I mean. I receive sometimes comments like this on my social media. In this case, it was, dude, you got a lot of fat covering up your muscle. The video in question was this, what you guys are seeing on screen right now, and apparently this is a lot of fat. Or you get stuff like this on a recent Instagram post of mine. Getting a little bit chubby on a physique of this in terms of conditioning or body fat. And again, I'm not doing this to call anybody out. That's why I have blurred out these individuals' names. This isn't an issue with specific people. It's more of a systemic problem with the industry, which I'll get to in a minute. Or this comment, which wasn't even on my channel. This was on a random video by Jeff Nippard, where I believe, if I remember correctly, he was talking about his approach to, bulking in the winter. He tends to go on a bit more heavy bear mode bulks, where he puts on a bit more body fat, but also a lot more strength and size. And apparently, this individual thought that that was too much. Now, despite what some of you are probably thinking, like, Igor, what the hell is this? Is this just a video where you get triggered and pissed off and you're gonna go through all of your hater comments one by one like, actually, I'm not that fat. Well, 10%, you're goddamn right I am, but 90% no. This is indicative of a much bigger problem with a lot of you guys, and it results in things like this. This was an email that I received just a few days ago, and I'm gonna blur out the majority of this individual's email so as to protect his privacy, because it's not about him, it's about his way of thinking, which is not good. I'm pretty sure I am skinny fat because I am 5'9" and I weigh 154 pounds. I can't seem to gain muscle, but I have a bit of belly fat, so hopefully I can be a true candidate for a body recomposition. I just want to see cuts around my chest and abs. This guy, who's got vascularity going up from his deltoids, down his biceps, into his forearm. He's not shredded, not ready to step on stage at a men's physique show by any means, but he's pretty good. You can see a pretty decent outline of his abdominal area. Probably, this isn't the best lighting, but I would give this guy 12, maybe 14% body fat around there without seeing his back and his legs. There's no belly fat at all. This guy is downright lean if you compare it to the vast majority of the population. Again, a lot of people forget that if you actually look at the stats, not the weird YouTube social media community, but the overall stats, the 95th percentile for the leanest Americans is 17% body fat. If you are below 17% body fat, which is not that lean at all, you are now leaner. You are more shredded than 95% of the country, which this person very easily falls into despite the fact that he feels he has a bit of belly fat. And this is the problem that I want to talk about in today's video, because number one, so many of you have completely warped and downright fucked standards for what is a good, lean, fitness, fit body fat percentage to be at, and most importantly, number two, what body fat percentage do you maintain all year round? And I know where this comes from. If you just go on social media or something, let's look at the big dog, right? Gymshark. Now, to give Gymshark credit, they have come a long way since their earlier days back when it was nothing but ridiculously jacked guys at negative 3% body fat across all of their social media. Now they do have a more, big variety of different aspects of health and fitness, but let's be honest, their bread and butter is still ridiculously shredded, jacked guys, for the majority of the year. You've got guys again, I don't want to point, out or single out this individual at all. He's just an example, but it's kind of okay, you see him looking fantastic. This is 22 hours ago. I mean, he is pretty damn lean. He looks like he could step on a bodybuilding or a men's physique show tomorrow and place top 3. He looks pretty damn good, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I am no stranger to this, having competed in multiple men's physique shows myself. However, the issue becomes when, okay, this is September, 3 months back, and still looking pretty damn diced. July, or half a year back, and still pretty damn shredded. And here we are, this is December. We've now done over a full year, and this guy is still 8% body fat at the absolute most. His body seems like it fluctuates 3 pounds, give or take, the entire year, and even then that's dictated by the size of the dump he took that morning. And I think a big reason why this problem stems is from, when it comes to social media, there's this issue which I like to think of. It reminds me of this concept I learned years ago back in college it's called survivorship bias. So the original story, this dates back to like World War II. There was pilots that would land, and then what they would do to try to determine which parts of the plane to reinforce the most, they were going to start looking at planes, and they were going to look at where they were hit. Where did they have the bullet holes? The tail, the wings, the belly, all these different parts of the plane. And so logically they thought, okay, we need to reinforce those specific parts of the plane. Then this guy came in, he was like a mathematician or a statistician, and he said, actually, you have it backwards. You have it the other way around. The thing about these planes is that although they were hit, they still made it home. They survived and landed, and they survived long enough to make it into your data sample, into your data sets. You guys have to look at the opposite. You guys have to look at all the planes that didn't come home. These planes were hit and landed. Those planes were hit somewhere else and they didn't land. You are ignoring all the example individuals who didn't make it long enough to be in your data set, your data sample, and that's kind of warping the statistical conclusion that you came to. So I know this is kind of random, and bear with me. This kind of relates to what we're seeing with social media, because the people who make it long enough, who survive, or in this case, not just survive, but get big in terms of followers and the subscribers, all this stuff, they are usually going to have a certain physique. And let's be honest, when it comes to social media, that physique is going to be big, shredded, strong, all these ridiculous things. But the problem is, if you don't have that, there's less likelihood that you make it big. There's less likelihood that you survive and you make it into this data set. You guys, you, the viewer, you don't see that. You see stuff like this. You see these jacked guys who seem to be at 10% body fat all year round, 365 days a year. And I don't want this video to turn into some big drama scandal. I don't want this video to turn into a natty or not. I'm just saying that a lot of times when you see these individuals who look like they're at maximum 10% body fat 12 months out of the year, there are usually 3 things going on. Number 1, let's cut the shit. Sometimes they're on drugs. They're on performance enhancing drugs. They're on anabolic steroids, pharmaceutical strength, thermogenics, all this crazy pharmaceutical shit which I can't even pronounce. Number 2, sometimes they have ridiculous top 1 percentile genetics, in which case, great for them. For the rest of us, probably not the best example or goal to follow. And number 3, in some cases, they don't have any of that. They're just torturing themselves. They're just putting themselves into a position where they know that they feel like shit. They train like shit. Everything sucks, but they look good and they gotta keep doing it for, business, for Instagram, for YouTube, and hell, I get that. And this is something which I have fallen into myself in the past, and that's kind of to a certain extent why I'm making this video, not just for you guys but also for myself, especially my younger self. I'm almost doing this video to time travel it back to when I was 24 and thought that if I'm over 10% body fat, suddenly I feel like I'm obese because, well, that's not what everyone on YouTube looks like, that's not what everyone on Instagram looks like, and that's a problem. So at this point in the video, I want to move away from just random conjecture. Holy shit, I actually got that one right. That is surprising. And opinion, and in general, just coming off sort of like I'm just some guy who's bitching because there's other people on social media who are leaner than me and it's not fair. No, there's actual additional reasons for this on a physiological and in some cases psychological level as to why you should not try to be 10% body fat all year round. Looking into the first example, this is a study. This one, it's good and it's bad at the same time. It's bad because it's one individual, it is a case study, and I know that, looking at studies where n equals 1, sample size equals 1, is not the best course of action, but that being said, this was a very interesting example and I wanted to bring this up. They followed a natural bodybuilder for 12 months. They followed him 6 months before and after his competition. And this guy did very well. According to this, he dieted down from 14.8 to 4.5% body fat, and then back up to 14.6% body fat, pretty much back up to normal after his show. In this case, they measured a few things, and his testosterone declined from 9.22 to 2.27 nanograms per milliliter. His, I believe this is his total testosterone, went down to almost a quarter of what it used to be. This guy took him from well within the healthy, even a little bit towards the higher end of the natural testosterone spectrum, all the way down to literally clinically low testosterone levels. This guy could walk in to any TRT clinic around the world, even in Canada where it's really strict, and he would legit still qualify probably for testosterone replacement therapy. That being said, thank God, it did go back up to normal, even a little bit above baseline after the show, coming back up to 9.91 nanograms per milliliter. They also measured his mood. They have this thing where they kind of looked at units of mood disturbance, which they measured increasing from 6 to 43 units. Probably he wasn't feeling that great. And to be honest, that's not exactly that much of a shocking revelation. Surprise, surprise, you take a 200-pound man and feed him the equivalent of what you'd expect for an 18-year-old girl, going from 3,000 to 2,000 calories, dieting down to 5% body fat, probably not going to feel that great, especially if he tries to maintain that for months at a time after the competition, which thankfully this individual did not. And then on top of that, you've got a whole mess of other things. For example, thermogenic adaptation or metabolic damage, as some people have talked about. I did a video about this a year or two ago if you want to go check it out. So essentially, you get to a point where by dieting for so long, it gets harder to continue doing so because your metabolism is less. Your metabolism is slower, and now it's a lot easier for you to gain weight, to gain fat, and more difficult for you to remain, let alone lose additional body fat. You have effectively shifted your metabolism down because you're feeding yourself so little for such extended periods of time. And then another problem is the overall maintenance, let alone growth of additional muscle mass. If you are putting yourself into a position where you can't recover between workouts because you are eating so much less, your overall workout intensity is significantly diminished. Less frequent workouts, less overall work capacity, less volume, definitely a lot weaker and lifting a lot less in terms of intensity and the weight lifted. Your testosterone is less. Overall, you're putting your body into a position where muscle catabolism becomes a little bit more likely, let alone building new muscle. And on top of this, there's a whole slew of other things, which to be honest, I had no idea until I started doing some preliminary research for this video. We're talking things like decreased sperm count, decreased immune response, decreased bone mineral density, and let's be honest, the most cliche fitness vlogger YouTube video ever that everybody must do at least once in their life because they have significantly decreased libido, and in some cases going as far as erectile dysfunction from trying to get to 8% body fat. This is why in my case, sometimes I will diet down for like a show or a photo shoot or something like that to 8% body fat, but for the vast majority of the year, I don't look like that. I can't look like that, and to be honest, I don't want to, for every reason that I just mentioned. So at this point in the video, I think that we're focusing a little bit too much on the negatives. I want to, at this point, give you the opposite. Give you a few real-life examples, popular examples, I would say. Yet they're a lot more healthy, a lot more realistic, and they're examples that I think you guys should follow from a body fat percentage standpoint. Number one, Henry Cavill, Superman himself. If you look at his social media, even if you look at him in the movies, the guy has obviously got a very impressive physique, as you can tell here. Great deltoids, good arms, probably a solid like 17-ish inch, arm circumference, 6'1", probably somewhere just a hair under 200 pounds, I would estimate, I don't know. Overall, he's got a good physique, but what's funny is that this guy would be considered fat by YouTube standards. This guy would be in my inbox saying, Igor, how do I diet down? Or this guy would be getting comments like, looking a little chubby there, bro. Meanwhile, he's fucking Superman. Like, he's got a very considerable amount of muscle, and he's not fat by any means. He's probably somewhere in that, 13 to 16% body fat range, although it fluctuates depending on the time of the year, depending on the movie. And even when he's like, in a role, when he's supposed to look a little extra, like for example, obviously everyone's going to point to Man of Steel where he played, his most popular role. The guy looked great, but he doesn't have a ridiculous 8% body fat six-pack. He has been relatively lean, or very lean actually, in the past for movie roles. Like I believe this was The Immortals, if I remember that correctly. This is a few years ago when he did get very lean. This is probably the leanest I have ever seen him. Even this was too lean, and let's be honest, too skinny for characters like Superman, The Witcher, like really big action-related superstars who are supposed to be very physically oriented, and he, again, would be considered fat by today's YouTube standards. The next example I want to bring up would be Mark Wahlberg. This is a little of a, bit of an interesting example because at times he has been very lean. He has been pretty downright shredded, especially for a man of his age. I believe he's into his mid-40s, around there. Now, right off the bat, yeah, elephant in the room. It's pretty much guaranteed that Marky Mark has been using some of, performance-enhancing drugs. But then again, at his age, I don't even blame him that much. But even then, even this guy who's an action star and who's used gear to help him kind of like achieve or maintain that look, even this guy, for the rest of the year, will be a relatively lean, normal body fat percentage. Like, he's not, I wouldn't call this fat or anything. He's still he's a fantastic physique for a man his age, fantastic physique for the rest of the world in comparison. But again, on YouTube, this might be like, whoa, bro, where's the six-pack? Which is ridiculous because this is literally the body that he had in Pain and Gain, where he played a bodybuilder, where he had to put on like 30 pounds of muscle in 8 weeks or some other crazy thing that he said he did. In that movie, he played a legit bodybuilder alongside The fucking Rock, and he looked good, but he wasn't 8% body fat because that's ridiculous, and that's definitely not something he wants to do, at least for the majority of his life. He might look like that for certain movie roles or certain scenes, but he does, at least from what I see here, I don't think he looks like that all year round. And I don't think he wants to. And the final example is me, because I had to throw myself for a little bit of a shameless plug. Look, I have looked pretty damn lean, if I do say so myself, at times. This is me at around 173, 174 pounds in 2016, 1 week out from my men's physique show, which I believe, in my opinion, was the best overall combination of conditioning and size that I have ever had. And you can see it on my face. Like, I look skinny. I look like I've got like the death face in my cheeks, my jaw, my eyes. My face just looks sunken in. I may look lean. I've got the shreds, the striations on my deltoids and shoulders and the vascularity. But the way I overall look and feel is like a tube of toothpaste, which you have been using for the last 4 months, and you've squeezed out every last ounce of toothpaste, and you just keep on going for more. Am I lean? You bet your ass I am. The problem is I also feel like dog shit, and I was only able to maintain this condition for maybe a few weeks at the very most. Usually, I look like this. Usually, in the winters, especially for the majority, I would say probably like 60% of the year at minimum, this is what I look like. I actually put this on my Instagram about a week or so ago, and I said that I'm around 190 pounds, which is still not that bad considering in previous years I've bulked up to as much as 205, that's taking it to the other side of the spectrum. That's taking it a bit far. That's a whole other problem in and of itself. And the problem is, again, social media teaches you that no, this is fat, this is chubby, this is you, oh, you gotta diet down, bro, where's the six-pack, where's the shreds, where's all this shit that you probably shouldn't even have for 75% of the year. Again, for the vast majority of the population, you and I, or at least the majority of you, people who are not on vitamin S or have got genetics that are so good, they may as well be. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, as always, for stopping by my channel for a bit of a chat. If you're looking to get strong, build muscle, lose body fat, my courses and training programs are in the description box below. Check out my percentage-based training program, Hybrid 5, if you're looking to build some muscle and get very strong in the process. It's a fully laid out percentage-based training system. And then on the other hand, if you're newer to fitness, you're in your first 1 or 2 years of working out and trying to eat properly, check out the Skinny Fat Solution. It's a specific program tailored towards beginners, those who have a little bit of muscle to gain and a little bit of fat to lose at the same time. It's It's an overall course specifically tailored towards helping beginners achieve a body recomposition. And on top of that, we're launching a very big update next week. So if you're someone who's already got the course, keep a lookout for your inbox because there's a massive update dropping. It's going to be a full 7-day nutrition plan. It's going to be a full 3-phase, 6-month training program with every single exercise rep set, everything laid out. And it's going to help a lot of you out there who may not be as interested in learning about the concepts and the specifics of fitness. You just want to be told what to do. You just want a set of instructions. Go do this and get these results. That update is coming, so look out for that. But besides that, thank you so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you in the next one.